Good morning. We're here to heat things up. Or something. So, the spare truck, that's been the bane of my existence for a little bit now. We got it DOT'd. I fixed the short that was causing it to cut out. But I don't believe the block heater actually works in it because it barely started in the cold. So, I happen to have another new block heater sitting on my shelf. I have no idea why. I don't know if it was for this truck or I just got one at one point. No idea. It's a Volvo part number though. So we're gonna toss her in. Being an entrepreneur, you can experience the highest of highs and the lowest of lows all within the same day. All you can do is laugh in these situations. We'll start here at the wonderful plug, which is completely corroded out and no good. So we're probably just gonna cut that whole thing out. And then, so your block heater's here. It's as simple as this little end. Well, this is technically the cord, the block heater part. Actually is a little prong that goes in there. But usually it's on the passenger side and located somewhere near your water pump. So on this truck, I had to roll underneath, but I was able to identify it. And it is right here. There. So the cord comes up and goes across the front of the block, around to the other side. So there's going to be lots of zip ties to cut. And if you don't want the cord to then get sucked into the fan at a later date, lots of zip ties to put back on. So it comes across here, and it goes along the motor. I think it's actually this one. Back there, and back to where the plug-in is. Now, there's two ways to do this. There is the correct way, and then there's the easy way. The correct way is to do that whole thing, cut that whole harness, run it all the way over there, and put it back in its original factory location. That takes a long time. Kind of a pain in the butt. So the quick way is actually to just pull that end out here and cut it so that it doesn't go anywhere. Put your new one in, run it right here, and just put your plug-in on this side. Since the other side receptacle is completely trashed anyways, and there's no real reason to try to save it or ability to, because it ain't gonna work. We're gonna go the easy route. The only thing you have to be concerned about is making sure that whoever's gonna plug it in knows that this one is no longer good. So we're gonna cut that one out and just get rid of it. And we'll use a label maker to be like plug-ins on the other side or something. But rather than trying to loop the whole thing back over here, it's the easiest way. Now you're gonna wanna make sure you zip tie up the stuff so that there's not a lot of excess, because with everything going on under there, the fan, it can suck that wire in and then just cut it. Fun story, back in my Army times, when I was driving a M109 Alpha 6 Paladin, self-propelled field artillery equipment as a lowly private, we were going down the road, and all of a sudden, I heard a big poof and lost power. So then I stopped and it immediately died. Well, it had taken the entire wire harness of that military tank. It's self-propelled howitzer. Most people just think it's a tank because it looks like a tank. And it had sucked the wire harness and the main power into the cooling fans that were metal, and then it had fused all the fins together so that it continued to run until I shut it off, and then it would no longer run again. Because while the fans were spinning, it was able to keep that connection because it was mainly just the power. And then as soon as we shut it off, the fan stopped spinning, couldn't start it again. So we had to get towed by a even bigger tank looking thing. And then they put a new power pack, which is engine, which, you know, on those it all opens up. They pull it straight out with a crane, they put a new one in, we're good to go. But just fun little factoid that it was actually able to arc on the metal fans and keep running until I shut it off, and then it was stuck right there. I mean, it had no power, that's why we stopped in the first place. Like vroom vroom power. It had a little bit of power, but not vroom vroom power, if that makes sense. Let's start by cutting this one out. That way we're just gonna eliminate it. Now, you could, in theory, take out these little bolts here and swear at them for a while, but I prefer angle grinder because it's easier. So I'll be back. Safety. I mean, no gloves, but somewhat safe. Maybe I should have put on gloves. Yeah, that's for quitters. Okay. Come on, you punk. Oops. Looks custom to me. There we go. That's a real hack job though. If this was on one of my new trucks, I wouldn't do that. Also, to be fair, if this was on my new trucks, it wouldn't be that corroded either. So, it's the difference between spare truck and new truck. Remember your plug-in. Let's try to make this work. You are right there. Yeah, it's a lot easier to come up from the bottom. Let's get a channel locks first. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Could have, of course, chosen a channel locks that wasn't way too freaking big. Come out. There you go. Yeah. I'm gonna put that one up there for now. Got our new one. Ooh, they even use twisty ties. Would you look at that? Whoa. Once again, we are just replacing the cord. Now, if you had to replace the block heater itself, it's this unit here. It's 2 bolts. You pull it out. Now, when you pull it out, so that's sticking directly into the coolant, it's going to leak coolant. So you can either A, drain the coolant, or B, do it really quick. Usually we go for B. Do it really quick. And there's usually only one way it fits in. So judging by how the old one came out, this one has to go in this direction. That don't seem right, does it? I'm not entirely certain that that is supposed to move like that. We should probably also add that to the list of potential things we need to address. Come on, you punk. There we go. So, it's right here. There's a broken bolt. Correction. There are two. Actually, they're not even broken. They're just loose. Well, that's just silly. So we should tighten those up too. So now we've got the new one in. So if we want to go to the factory location, we'd have to go around the front of the motor. But because we aren't going to go to the factory location, and instead we're going to do this the easy way, we will go out. For simplicity, we will go on the back side of these heater hoses. Pull her in there. Slip it down in between the heater hose and the frame, because the heater hose will actually hold it up. Like I say, we're going to keep this stupid simple, because there's no reason to make this overly complicated. So we're just going to run it through there. Ow! Just pinched my fingers on the tripod. Well, that's just silly. So we want to get down to here. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We got a new heater core plug on in 12 minutes. Now, it is not in the factory location, and we are going to want to zip tie this stuff up so that it doesn't fall down, rub on the tire, get caught in a fan, all that good stuff. Give it enough slack. And there you go. Ow. There's a mirror there. That simple. Now there's a new cord on our black heater. It's at a different location, so we're going to want to make sure that we educate our employees that this one no longer is in the factory location, but that's why I cut the old one out. I didn't want to leave that over there. People would then plug it in, assuming that's the right one, and move on. Now, because there's nothing over there, and only the one over here, it should be a lot more apparent. But the dealership would have charged you at least an hour of labor, if not more, plus parts markup. You know, that was 20 minutes of my time, and we potentially took care of the entire issue. Go team. All right, let's chop top of the stack off. Another project that I've been meaning to get to for like 3 years, but I got a ladder now that's tall enough so that hopefully I don't fall down. So the best way to chop off stacks is to take them off and use a miter saw. The second best way, because we're going to cut it at a little bit of an angle, to be cool, is you can take a rubber band like this and kind of position it so that gives you a reference line. Then you can mark it marker. But this will allow you to make sure that when you get to the other side, you're actually going to meet up with where you're supposed to be by utilizing the rubber band. And I can't see the back side of this, so I'm probably going to have to reposition the ladder to a better location. Which is going to be a pain. But if we want to do this the correct way, it will have to be done. Ow! Bugger. Back to the ever-present angle grinder. And of course, in this light, I can't even see my mark. There it is. So, now I need to get to the other side of it, which, multiple ways to do it. But I am going to do it the easy way. Easy-ish way. There you go. I am nowhere near where I need to be. Fun. Okay. Probably shouldn't put it in the exhaust, but it'll come out eventually, I'm sure. Boom shakalaka. Not too shabby. Is it perfect? No. Not perfect, but better than it was. And metal right in the eye. Put your glasses on, dummy. Ha, better than it was. So there you go. Yeah, ideally you take it off, cut it on the ground, and if they slide off, that's not too big of a deal. But with these old rusty pipes, that would have been a lot of swearing. It breaks right here. If you take that clamp off, hypothetically, it's supposed to then just slide right out. It's not on a truck with 700,000 miles on it. It is going to fight you every step of the way, and you are going to swear an exuberant amount. But they're not bad. Mainly just the end of it was bent over. Also, with us not pulling dry vans much anymore, it didn't need to be that tall. So there you go. Go team. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall.